coming? Yeah, I will get that all.
Hello, hello.
Random. These are all quickly, quickly. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to 3EV Industry Investor Day 2025. We sincerely thank you for joining us this Sunday morning. Gentlemen, we request you to be kindly seated. We shall be starting in 5 minutes. Thank you. Okay. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We now commence our event for 3 EV Investor Day 2025. So as we begin, we introduce our first speaker for the day. It's none other than Mr. Manas Das, Vice President of Mahanagar Gas Limited.
Good morning. Thank you, Florence. Good morning, everyone. So happy to see all of you here on a Sunday morning. It inspires us with a common agenda, the way we'd like to have the new energy taking over in India. Very prestigious day for all of us because many things are coming up, and as we unfold the day, I'm from Mahanagar Gas Limited and would be taking you through 3-4 important points. One, of course, I'll take you through what is MGL's profile. I will certainly take you through what is the EV landscape that there in India, and specifically the growth story that we are all looking forward to. And all the more important is the rationale behind why MGL looked into 3EV. So I'll cover all these things. I'll also cover how the other supporting interventions that we have thought through. So let me first introduce Mahanagar Gas Limited. As we stand today, this will be kind of a magnitude what we are reaching out to. We have connected 28 lakh households across Mumbai and Greater Mumbai, and 11 lakh vehicles are running on compressed natural gas. We have more than 5,000 industrial and commercial customers connected with us today. It's a 30-year-old company, and we started our business sometime in May 95. Initially, British Gas was there, a very important partner with us, and specifically the culture of safety and the processes and the way initial challenges of rolling out a CGT business in 90s, British Gas partnered with us in this important journey. Mahanagar Gas was the first few players in the city gas distribution business, and we have spread our wings across city. We are further expanding our business beyond our horizon. We'll take you through that discussions also. The scale that we have, we are now a 13,500 crore company. Last year's financial year, our revenue clocked more than 6,900 crore, some 1,045 crore PAT we have. And the gas business, as we stand today, our volume is more than 4 million standard cubic meter per day. More than 12% growth rate that we have. This is where we are. In 2016, we were listed, and 2019, British Gas divested the equity in Mahanagar Gas Limited. As we are today, GAIL is having 32.5% stake in Mahanagar Gas Limited. We also have the state having Maharashtra government having 10%. The FPI is having 24% stake, banks and investors having 24%, others around 9%. Our vision is, of course, to be the world-class consumer-friendly and environment-friendly company and employer of choice. And I would rather specifically emphasize on the employer of choice part of it, because we always believe that employees are who are driving the business. And in our vision also, we would like to have our employees totally committed and dedicated for the company. We're also committed to provide safe, efficient, and reliable energy. Not only in gas, we have moved beyond gas, and that is why we are here today. While creating value for our stakeholders. This is our vision statement. Not only in the core sector, we have also looked into the new businesses as we move forward, and we have developed our strategy. We have taken actions in our strategic dimensions, and that is where this diversification play is important to highlight. In the core natural gas segment, we are also growing inorganically. We have acquired another company called UEPL from the Ashoka Buildcon and Morgan Stanley. We have acquired it in February. And with this, we have expanded our horizon. 3 more geographical areas we have added. This is adjacent to our Ratnagiri district, Raigad district, Ratnagiri, and also Latur and Osmanabad. We have also added 1 district, Chitradurga and Davangere in Karnataka. The sourcing arrangement that helps us to have more synergy in this acquisition, and we believe this will give us more value. In last year also, as we stand today, UPL is having 84 stations. They have 0.18 million standard cubic meter per day, and it has grown significantly compared to the last financial year after we have acquired. Around 40% volume growth is there. We have also identified LNG, the liquefied natural gas, is another area dimension where there is huge potential, and opened another joint venture with Baidyanath LNG. And this is specifically on the long-haul transportation that we are focusing on. This potential area will shift our fuel requirement from diesel to the liquefied natural gas and give us a greener alternative going forward. And there's a huge opportunity out there to convert the diesel vehicles, long-haul diesel vehicles, to LNG. We already have the experience of putting out retail stations, and this helps us expanding our business in the LNG dimension. So we already have our own station in Savroli, which is clocking more than 4.5 ton a day of dispensing LNG out there. With this Mahanagar LNG Limited, MLNG, we are also expanding our business in the LNG domain. In October 24, our first LNG station in Aurangabad was commissioned. We also plan to expand other geographies, like other stations in Bhiwandi, and Jite and Sioni in MP and all that. There's another significant area specifically in the gas domain that, to supplement the domestic requirement, thought process of how waste to gas can be converted. So we are putting up one of the largest MSW-based CBG plant here in Mumbai, and that will process 1,000 ton per day. This will come, of course, in a stage-wise manner. 1,000 ton per day of MSW, which will generate gas and which can be used as an alternative for CNG as well as for the piped gas. And land has been allocated recently by the government cabinet in May 25. The concession agreement with the municipal corporation and the JV agreement with the partner is coming up. Now let's specifically come to the 3V story. We have invested in 3V. We have explored. I'll get into specific details about why we have looked into this particular venture. This is an opportunity for us to get our exposure in the rapidly growing last mile connectivity segment, and this will also emphasize help us in achieving our sustainability targets. It's important that the story that we see. I was just getting the numbers. 834 vehicles produced last financial year, significant 90% jump compared to the last financial year. Let's give a big clap to the 3V team, the achievement that we have in the last financial year. Also, in terms of the quality of the vehicle, and that is why the event is also important, and there's an event of launching the new vehicle also is there. we'll talk about it. But in addition to this, we find the cell manufacturing in India is another area where is a lot of emphasis need to be there, because today most of it is coming from China or other countries, and this is an additional space that a push is required. And we have partnered with international battery company based out of US. We have set up our joint venture, and we'll be putting up a gigafactory there in Bangalore itself, which will produce the lithium ion cell, and we will further expand it to 5 gigawatt going forward. This is a space where we must be putting our investment in supporting the Make in India campaign, and we have got the land, and EPC is being carried out. This happened recently in November 24. Now moving forward to the EV landscape, the growth story that we have, in 22 when we started looking into the space, that year the total vehicle produced EV was 1 million. And as we stand today in 24, it has crossed 2 million, a significant jump compared to a couple of years back. And EV constituted 7.7% of the total automobile sales in India. 25.4% year-on-year growth. From last year it was 1.6 million to 2 million today. High-speed electric two-wheelers, this is the biggest chunk of it, 12 lakh vehicles produced, and significant jump compared to the last year's volume, more than 30% of growth that compared to the previous year's volume. In e-rickshaw, there's a volume is of 4.8 lakh, and close to 60,000 e-carts. These are the production that we had in 24. Four-wheeler segment had seen growth also, 12.8%, and more than 1 lakh vehicles were registered in calendar year 24. Specifically looking into the goods carriers, this is one sector which has grown 128% compared to last year. The volume that we see is, let's say, the e-rickshaw part of it. This is a good chunk of it, 4.8, but three-wheeler passenger vehicles, the total volume was 1.2 lakh, and also the cargo volume is grown 15.7%. So 143% growth compared to last calendar year. The cargo vehicle has also, though the total magnitude is little less, but there is a significant jump out there. Penetration is also, let's say, it's still there in 5% penetration in passenger vehicle, and maybe this number may be little updated as we speak today, 17% in the cargo vehicles. Going forward, this is where we see the opportunity, and that is why we specifically emphasize the presence there in the last mile logistics, which has been there in our thought process. India certainly is an economy which is core strength is the consumption. In today's economic times, we had seen the growth rate, GDP growth rate, around 6.5%. Q4 growth rate was 7.4%. So consumption, household consumption growth was 7.2%. This consumption is actually driving the e-commerce segment. The last mile logistics industry in India, it is experiencing huge growth, and primarily fueled by the e-commerce sector. The CAGR of e-commerce sector stands at 125 billion, and it is expected to grow at 23% to $350 billion. Growth rate of the last mile delivery market space, CAGR is will grow at 12 to 13%. Specifically in terms of the environment, zero tailpipe emissions. This is one strain that we are looking at. It is environment friendly. On the TCO side also, it has come to significant kind of comparatives with respect to the ICE vehicles, and 38% cheaper in terms of the compared to the ICE vehicles, and the battery price is also coming down significantly. Lithium ion battery pack prices have also come down 20%, $115 per kilowatt hour, making it thus substantial decline in the compared to last 5 years or more than that. And that is why the investment rationale we would like to highlight here. EV space was there in our playbook, in our strategy playbook, in terms of looking into specifically the opportunity. This helps us promoting our greener initiatives. We also have our net zero targets. The EV ecosystem, vehicles, and the charging infrastructure need to be put there, and there had been significant push from the government side as well. Policies are aligned with it. Incentives are also being there. In fact, recently, Maharashtra government has also come up with the 2030 targets for the state as well. 30% penetration by 2030 is targeted. More emphasis is there on the passenger vehicles. There are policies in terms of FAME 1, 3, 1, 2, EPMS, EMPS, and the PM E-Drive are also there. Government is also looking at sustainability targets. Not only the government, but the companies, specifically in the e-commerce and FMCG sector, they are also pushing the ESG agenda, and it helps them. And also this helps them converting into from IC to EV cargo fleets. The economics are also helping, as we discussed in the previous slide, improving the TCO. Now, specifically the way the two companies, 3EV and 3ECO, are related, 3EV having stakes in 3ECO, and 3ECO reaching out to the market, and quick feedback coming into 3EV to, in case of any, how to improve the system or the delivery part. So the quick feedback loop has been a big strength for 3EV to work on the quality of vehicles, and I believe we are coming up with the best vehicle in India, and we should all be proud of it. And also we got a good, strong feedback from the customers, the consumer side, and that helps us deciding on this rational part of it. We are also I'm proud to say that the leadership that we have seen in 3EV, both Peter and Karan, we are really have seen the leadership in this particular segment, and the visionary leadership, specifically Peter, the way he had identified where and what are the opportunities, how the processes can be enabled, how the new system can be looked into, and additionally, Karan's experience in this new energy segment has helped us deciding, and this is what we look into in the leadership part of it when we invest in any new ventures. 3EV has crossed, as I said, 90% growth compared to last financial year. The company has also looked into the quality aspect of it, and there's been significant improvement, and the new vehicle that will be launched, you will all see, has surpassed all the industry benchmark that we have. In addition, not only in 3EV, but we are also trying to support the battery ecosystem. We have partnered with international battery company, would like to set up the company there, which will come up with not only the cells, but we're also trying to look into the other chemistry beyond the present focus. But this will support the whole ecosystem of vehicles, and also the ecosystem of mobility and the battery storage system that we have. And also 3EV has got strategic alliances with major suppliers. This is another strength that 3EV has, and that is why we was there in the background to move forward investment in 3EV. With that, I would like to thank you all once again coming here in this day and being here with us. Florence, thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. If you have any questions, I will address or now or whenever if you want. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Manas Das. What an inspiring and insightful start to the day. We truly appreciate the perspectives you have shared. And now, it's time to welcome our next speaker, a man who truly needs no introduction. Introducing Mr. Peter Walkner, a visionary, global entrepreneur, and the driving force behind 3EV Industries. With decades of experience in financial services and renewables, Mr. Peter, as the MD and founder, has built 3EV from the ground up into a formidable EV OEM. Welcome, Mr. Peter.
Thank you, Florence. Am I audible? It's good? Yeah. Thank you, Florence. Very flattering comments. I always try to live up to Florence's expectations. She keeps pushing me to do better. We have a great team, and Florence is certainly a very important member of that team. A little bit closer. Is this better? Better? Okay. Sorry about that. I want to thank Mr. Manas for a great presentation, very illuminating in terms of the vision and the positioning of MGL as it looks forward into adopting new technologies in EV mobility, in sustainability, and the growth to come. 3EV is very proud and honored to be part of that strategy and ecosystem. We see enormous scope for value creation and impact in the years to come through this relationship. A very sincere thank you to Mr. Ashu, Managing Director of Mahanagar Gas, for attending our Investor Day today. And also a special thanks to Mr. Sanjeep and Mr. Rajesh and the entire MGL team for coming and joining us today on this, our inaugural Investor Day. Our partnership is set to raise this company to the next level. To the rest of the audience, thank you very much for joining us, and also those who may be attending online for joining us for this inaugural Investor Day of 3EV Industries. This company was founded with Rugged Solar in 2019 after carefully analyzing the market opportunity for EV mobility in India. Given that the EV market was still very new back then, we heavily researched the use cases by talking to actual end customers to understand their needs. This solutions-driven approach formed the basis of the 3EV business model. Some of you may have seen the welcoming video when you came in during this morning's registration. The video starts with a drag race between an ICE passenger three-wheeler and one of our earliest converted ICE to EV vehicles called the Model E30C. This was one of the earliest projects from our engineering team to establish the technical and performance capabilities of our EV platform. Our goal was always to make something better than what was available in the ICE format. And this attitude has guided our mission to engineer the heavy-duty, high-performance, and high-efficiency vehicles that you're going to be seeing today. We did not set out to make an electric vehicle as a simple substitute for an ICE vehicle. Rather, we were committed to engineering a value-added product that delivered more performance and capabilities for less cost. This kind of efficiency win-win is strongly associated with the long-term trend in the electrification of work that has been going on for more than a century. It was this tradition in electronics engineering that set our assumptions and goals for what an electric utility vehicle should be. Key to this process was a solutions-driven approach targeting inefficiencies and performance bottlenecks in ICE vehicles as they were used for local transportation services in India. the specifications of our EVs reflect our efforts to tangibly improve these limitations for ICE vehicles. Another important consideration for us when we began 3EV was the singular focus on the three-wheel segment of the market. Two-wheelers were not as technically challenging to give us an engineering advantage. On the other side, four-wheelers were well beyond our reach financially as a small and self-funded startup in 2019. The three-wheeler segment of both cargo and passenger vehicles in India represents a very attractive opportunity based on the technical challenges to build a high-performance Category L5 vehicle platform. These challenges suited the engineering team at Rugged Solar originally, with their long history and experience in off-grid battery systems and off-grid solar systems, photovoltaic systems, and related power electronics. Commercially, the fact that the three-wheeler market in India is entirely B2B was also an important consideration. Since the customer base was made up of business owners and investors, we could rely on the discipline of the market to give us objective feedback on the usefulness of our EVs. There's no impulse buying of commercial vehicles. It's not a fashion choice or a trend-based decision. An electric commercial vehicle must compete with an existing ICE variant having an established commercial track record. The EV has to show tangible performance and commercial advantages to be a winner in the market. We liked that transparency in determining the long-term competitiveness of our vehicles. A critical issue for buyers is the total cost of ownership of the vehicle, as well as commercial productivity. As I go through the next few slides, I'll be focusing particularly on these two issues, cost and performance. This slide shows the percentage of parts by cost, or the bill of materials, for each of the three types of vehicles we produce at 3EV. As you can see, more than 50% of the parts share a common cost procured from a common list of suppliers. This allows us to scale our procurement for volume discounts. It also allows us to optimize our manufacturing processes, with many of our factory workstations able to support production for all three vehicle types simultaneously. Note that the converted vehicles are completed in separate facilities according to the rules governing the conversion to EVs, but the sub-assemblies and the stock-keeping parts can be held in common. When we consider labor, overhead, and corporate, the amount of shared cost among all of our vehicles is very high. This gives us operating leverage to drive higher financial margins despite being a small company. The high shared material percentages not only benefit production costs, but also aftermarket costs. We can hold a smaller number of parts at our service locations to support all three vehicle types in the market. Our technicians also handle a smaller number of parts. This has a big impact on the profitability of our aftermarket service business, which is the wholly owned division called 3C. I've already commented on 3EV's focus on premium EVs, both cargo and passenger. This came about through the solutions-driven engineering approach we set out with when the company was formed. In 2019, we actively engaged not only with vehicle owners and drivers in India. More importantly, we held extensive meetings with the large enterprises that relied on these local transportation vendors for last-mile deliveries. After speaking with the likes of Amazon and Big Basket and many others, we came to understand that high loading capacity and range were critical. In fact, Amazon mandated a minimum of 120 cubic feet of cargo box space for their last-mile delivery vehicles. At the time, the only available Category L5 EVs came with a standard 80 to 100 cubic foot cargo box. This is one indication of how OEMs were not in tune with the needs of real end users at the time. Similarly, battery specifications and swapping options in 2020 limited Category L5 ranges to 30 to 60 kilometers per charge for a fully loaded vehicle. And it is the loaded vehicle range that matters, not the lab specification of an empty vehicle. At 3EV, all of our vehicle ratings are based on fully loaded range tests. and every one is range tested before it leaves the factory. We sought out end customers in the design stage so that we never wasted time engineering a middle-of-the-road electric vehicle without a clear purpose and end use. We did not want our EVs to be just substitutes for ICE vehicles. In fact, what we came to know was that three-wheel ICE vehicles, cargo vehicles, were rarely used in last-mile deliveries. They were not seen in any of the distribution centers of the larger e-commerce companies that we visited. What we found out is that not only could an electric three-wheeler compete with what was present in those distribution centers, which were primarily one-ton, four-wheel light commercial vehicles, but that they could actually outperform that platform, doing last-mile logistics and transportation. One of the reasons is because four-wheelers were often underloaded for the shorter routes associated with enterprise customer delivery schedules. They also required a driver and a delivery person versus the ability of our three-wheelers to have a single driver come delivery. Based on this market research, the efficiency and performance gains of our EVs were compelling at the outset and gave us huge confidence that our platform was competitive. Another critical decision we made early on was to separate the vehicle and the battery commercially. This was not only a cost consideration, but also one of safety and reliability. The market lacked proper knowledge of how to maintain and charge the larger, more complex batteries in L5 vehicles versus the smaller two-wheel EV batteries that were being used. By providing batteries as a service on a monthly rental, our customers not only benefited from the reduced upfront CapEx, but also gained the safety and reliability of having our trained technicians providing batteries and charging. But the life cycle management of batteries also has a direct impact on operating cost. A lithium battery that lasts 500 cycles is almost 3 times more costly than one that can do 1,500 cycles. We've engaged with our battery partners to develop clear SOPs to extend battery life with proper handling and maintenance to achieve up to 3,000 cycles. That's close to a 10 years life, assuming an 80% annual utilization. And this has a massive impact on the cost per cycle for the battery user. But customer-owned batteries cannot be relied upon to achieve these levels consistently today. It's not that some customers are incapable of disciplined battery maintenance. It is that a battery OEM cannot predict the frequency and reliability of their behavior at the customer level. A corporate BaaS operator like 3C is the only way to achieve optimal battery life, and we are forging win-win models with our battery OEM partners to share in the cost savings for greater competitiveness and customer satisfaction. Our commitment to aftermarket support does not end with batteries. Because we understood early on that the total cost of ownership of vehicles was heavily based on their reliability, uptime, and longevity in real-world terms, we created a wholly owned division called 3C, dedicated to all aspects of vehicle support after it leaves our factory. Aftermarket support directly impacts the financeability of vehicles. Confidence in our design and manufacturing quality allowed us to offer a 5-year warranty standard on all new builds. In 2020, there were few pure EV OEMs giving more than a 2 years warranty. That made it difficult for vehicle financiers to provide anything more than a 24 months finance term. With our 5 years warranty as standard, along with a matching 5 years maintenance and service contract at added cost, we were able to first attract corporate buyers who then leased out the vehicles at an attractive return with the comfort of knowing that their collateral values would be protected. Gradually, NBFCs became aware of the solid usage profiles of our vehicles in the market and began offering 36 months financing to 3EV buyers. We've recently extended financing terms to as high as 60 months and also secured the first commercial bank relationship with Access Bank as a financing partner for our EVs. As many of you already know, the longer financing term reduces the monthly cost of the EMI, overcoming small differences in original MRPs, or retail prices. This is a very important point, so I'm going to say it slowly. We do not sell the cheapest EVs in the market, but we believe that we do sell the most affordable ones. I've already spoken about BAS as a critical commercial initiative to make the operating cost of our EVs more attractive to customers. However, the financing cost is not the only benefit. The flexibility of BAS to adjust costs and range to changing customer requirements is also critical. Furthermore, BAS takes future technology risk out of the hands of customers. We've partnered with the best fast-charging lithium battery technology through our partnership with Exponent for the benefit of our customers, particularly in the passenger segment. When sodium batteries or some other solid-state battery technology emerges and becomes commercially viable, these advances will be available to our vehicle customers without any headaches. The comprehensive maintenance and service provided by 3C to our customers is also a critical business to us. Mr. Suresh, the GM of 3C, will provide a lot more detail on this business in a later session, so I'm not going to steal his thunder here. But I will emphasize the important point that maintenance, preventative maintenance, is always preferred over service. This means that the customer faces fewer disruptions and less downtime. And as an OEM, we can control our costs better with a regular routine of maintenance instead of emergency services that always cause headaches for everyone. Another foundational concept that we committed to at the inception of 3EV is the partner ecosystem. The EV market was and remains highly disintermediated and lacking in uniform standards of specifications and service protocols. This means that a purely market-based strategy runs the risk of customers facing confusing and often conflicting information about products and use cases. Customers are often making decisions based on incorrect information, or even worse, being stranded after the purchase without proper support. We call this issue the high cost of information, and it happens in the early stage of all disruptive technologies. Without a long commercial track record and standards of performance, it's very difficult for the market to have confidence in EVs. We've seen many companies and business models struggle or pivot in the market over recent years, causing damage to their customers. We do not want to be responsible for that. Therefore, we formed close partnerships with key players in the value chain at the beginning of our commercial phase. This started with a select group of parts suppliers that could meet our rigorous specifications of performance and quality. It was not a simple turnkey process. We needed to engage deeply with our suppliers to solve engineering and quality issues. In fact, I was just discussing with our motor supplier, SCG, before the session started today, about how far we've come in solving the engineering challenges of real-world applications of electric motors. SEG has a long history making electric motors in stationary or other applications, but in mobility, a clear understanding of what the true challenges on the road throughout India has been a process that we've had to work through together. This relationship requires trust and patience to resolve many of the technical issues in real-world field experience to stress test parts over time. Also, we do not build and forget. Through our warranty and aftermarket service, we track the performance and reliability of our vehicles and critical parts. And now we have one of the most robust libraries of parts and service integrity available to our suppliers. They can trust us and rely on us to provide real data and use case facts to continuously improve engineering and quality. In batteries, standards for technical specifications needed to be vetted and standardized based on realistic commercial use cases. We've engaged with our two primary battery partners, and we also look forward to engaging with MGL's affiliated company in the near future. But the two companies we're working with today are Neuron for conventional LFP batteries and swapping systems, and Exponent for their novel fast charging system. Again, trust was critical in our engagements to drive towards optimized solutions in BaaS. Batteries remain one of the most serious bottlenecks in EV adoption and cost-effective commercialization. We are confident that our BaaS service through 3C is highly competitive and scalable. Our standards-based approach has been field-tested and optimized and is now poised for rapid growth. When it comes to the financeability of our vehicles, this is where the high cost of information in the nascent EV market is most clear. When many EVs were only on the road for less than a year or two and the utilization rates were low, it was difficult for NBFCs to analyze the cash flows and collateral values in order to provide a verified cost of finance. Starting with sales to corporate buyers under a structured sale-lease program in 2021, 3V has provided continuous data on our vehicles in commercial use, demonstrating high utilization and strong credit performance. We are grateful to AMU as the first NBFC to take notice of this data when they began financing our vehicles in 2022. The continuous sharing of data has built trust and confidence from several NBFCs now, as well as Access Bank, to underwrite our vehicles. I've mentioned trust every time as the critical element within our partner ecosystem. It's precisely that trust that lowers the cost of information. By pursuing an honest, win-win relationship with all of the stakeholders in our partner network, we're able to provide a clear, reliable, and sustainable solution for buyers. This helps to make the value proposition for EV adoption easier for customers to understand and believe in. I've spoken at length now and tried to highlight some of the key technical and strategic foundations of 3EV. It's important to note that the original analysis and business model we developed in 2019 has never changed, even 6 years later. Our technical proof of concept has been validated in the market by our vehicles performing the work side by side with ICE light commercial vehicles for some of the biggest and most respected enterprise customers in India. But also, other OEMs are now catching up in their designs with more heavy-duty vehicles capable of larger payloads and longer ranges. Still, we feel we have advantages and even more technical breakthroughs to come, such as our cold chain solution, which we will launch later this year. Our partner ecosystem has been the bedrock of our market strategy. It goes hand in hand with our exclusively direct sales model. We do not have retail dealerships. We have never relied on FAME subsidies. We ensure the value proposition of our vehicles is based on performance and total cost of ownership. And based on this, we're expanding our customer opportunity set through our partner ecosystem, where new customers are being referred to us from financing partners and battery partners. And in the 3C Aftermarket division, we're attracting customers for BaaS and maintenance, even on vehicles not manufactured by us. I would be remiss not to mention the incredible partnership and support we are gained through the Mahanagar Gas investment in our Series A. They are now one of our largest shareholders. As you heard from Mr. Manas, MGL is a leader in gas distribution and related businesses. The synergies between their very large and mature business and our very early stage EV manufacturing and service business are many. In BaaS, the roadmap for building an electric charging infrastructure to support many types of EVs is strengthened by the vast experience, expertise, and resources of MGL. This is a very compelling financial partnership, but the strategic synergies make it all the more exciting. Through the foundational investment of MGL in our Series A equity raise, we're now poised for rapid growth in manufacturing as well as aftermarket services. Mr. Utsav, where are you? Put your hand up. There you are. Mr. Utsav, our recently joined co-president, inheriting the mantle gradually from Mr. Karan, who helped build this company, will be digging into the important details of that of our financial performance over the last year and our plans for the coming year. Mr. Suresh, the GM of 3C, who I've already mentioned, will be providing important information and outlook for our aftermarket division. Then, Karan himself, the original president of 3EV, will host a roundtable discussion with several of our key ecosystem partners. And finally, we will have an honored guest to tell us about the future of carbon credits in India. I hope you all enjoy the presentations, and I sincerely thank you again for attending the inaugural Investor Day of 3EV Industries. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Peter. Your words were nothing short of inspiring. Your vision and leadership at 3EV continue to set a benchmark for the industry. It was truly a privilege to hear from you. And now, moving on to our next speaker of the day, a powerhouse of operational strategy and execution, Mr. Utsav Khandelwal, co-president of 3EV. With a sharp global utility and infra acumen, he plays a pivotal role in scaling 3EV's production and operations.
Hello, check. Good morning, everyone. Hello. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Peter, for the great presentation. Your leadership has always inspired us and challenges us to continuously improve every single day. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us today. I am Utsav Khandelwal, President of 3EV, and I'll be presenting a detailed look at Is it audible now? Perfect, thank you. So thank you, Mr. Peter, for the great presentation. Your leadership has always inspired us and challenges us to continuously improve every single day. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us today. I am Utsav Khandelwal, President of 3EV, and I'll be presenting a detailed look at 3EV's financial and operational progress in FY25. To begin, I want to set the context. The results which we achieved this year are highly empirical, and they speak for themselves. But I will walk you through the broader environment and how our approach led to these outcomes. First, the vehicle sold. In FY24, we sold 438, and in FY25, 834. We have seen nearly doubling of our unit sales from 24 to 25. These sales were executed entirely through a direct-to-consumers model, with no third-party distributors or channel partners. We provided aftermarket support across 5 city locations: Bangalore, Hyderabad, Mumbai, Coimbatore, and Chennai. Importantly, none of our sales relied on subsidies, no FAME, or any other governmental support, which sets us apart in the current landscape. While many OEMs face disruptions due to subsidy policy changes, our pricing model and customer financing terms have remained consistent since inception. Despite the rising interest rates, we have been able to reduce the total cost of ownership for all the customers thanks to the better financing partnerships and improved unit economics. As an OEM, every vehicle we sell contributes directly to our top line. Our FY25 revenue growth closely tracked this year, nearly doubling of our vehicle volumes. In terms of production, these units were built within our manufacturing units at Shed 1 and Shed 2, totaling 60,000 square feet in Doddaballapur, Bangalore. These facilities have a rated capacity of 200 vehicles per month in a single shift. With Series A funding, we commissioned Shed 3 and adding another 80,000 square feet, bringing our total capacity to 140,000 square feet. Our capex expansion is complete, and we'll be able to produce 600 vehicles per month. Our second major revenue stream is battery rental. In FY24, we did 838, and in FY25, 1,628. And it grew about almost 2/3 year on year. Almost all vehicle sales include a multi-year battery rental agreement, giving customers great physical access to energy through swapping and fast charging. But you may be wondering and asking yourself, if the numbers of the battery rentals doubled, why did not the revenue double? This is the revenue from 6 to 10.1, and the number of batteries almost doubled. Well, the reason is that we began offering smaller battery packs, 6 to 7.2 kilowatt hours, which give customers more range flexibility and lower upfront cost. In FY24, most batteries were 10 kilowatt hours, providing 100 to 140 kilometer range. And these new compact batteries provide us 60 to 100 kilometer range, ranging on the load and the use case, and are optimized for swap infrastructure and flexible daily operations. Our third and fastest growing revenue stream is maintenance and service, which is offered through our 3C platform, which delivers 24/7 preventive and breakdown maintenance. Later today, our GM of 3C, Suresh, will share more information on that. As the production scaled and we utilized more of our fixed assets, our profitability improved. We were able to do 17.8 CR revenue in 24, and we are able to do 15.53, almost 54 CR in FY25. As you can see very clearly, the total revenue tripled year on year. Our EBITDA has improved almost 60%, from negative 21.5 to negative 8.5. Our net losses have been narrowed by 1/3, and we are on the track to break even in FY26. As a manufacturing business, fixed cost leverage is critical, and we have successfully begun to realize these efficiencies in FY25 itself. FY25 was a pivotal and a very, very active year for 3EV, not only in terms of growing our revenues and unit sales, but in building out the strategic and operational foundation for long-term scale. Let's start with the Series A funding round, where we brought in Mahanagar Gas Limited, MGL, as our lead investor. This is a landmark development. MGL is one of India's leading city gas distribution companies, and their investment into 3EV signals their commitment into the electrical mobility sector. Their funding commitment of 96 CR was formalized on 26th Feb 2024, and we are scheduled to complete the full Series A round by June of this year. MGL, it's not just a capital partner. They are a strategic one, bringing infrastructure and energy distribution capabilities that align well with battery as a service business. On the operational side, we have executed a major city capacity expansion. We increased our covered manufacturing space from 60,000 square feet to 140,000 square feet, thanks to the commissioning of Shed 3. This is the picture of our Shed 3. The expansion plan is structured into 2 phases. Phase 1, which is now complete, has taken our capacity to 300 vehicles per month in one single shift. Phase 2, which is currently underway, will further scale us to 600 vehicles per month, also under a single shift, with the further enhancement in Shed 1, 2, and 3. Now let me speak about the growth in our 3C division. Our aftermarket support arm, we have made significant additions to the team, including Mr. Suresh Sharma, who recently joined GM of 3C. Now you may be wondering, what is 3C? Well, 3C is a pillar to the business right now for 3EV. The first C stands for charging. Battery management solutions, including battery swapping, fast charging, and battery as a service infrastructure, BaaS. The second C and the second pillar of 3C, care. Preventive and on-demand maintenance services to ensure maximum vehicle uptime and reliability. The customer care is our focus. The third C is the conversions. Vehicle electrification services, converting internal combustion engines, as we typically call it as ICE vehicles, into highly efficient electrical vehicles. 3C is now expanding beyond our own vehicles. We have started offering battery as a service and maintenance contracts even for non-3EV vehicles, particularly in the three-wheeler segment. This opportunity emerged organically, primarily through NBFCs and financing partners who were seeing asset quality degradation due to the vehicle downtime, not because of a lack of demand, but due to poor maintenance and service across certain locations throughout the country. These NBFCs introduced us to their customers, which has turned into a scalable channel for aftermarket services. What's most important here is that aligns with our direct sales model. We do not operate retail outlets, but through institutional partnerships, we are now able to bring 3C's value proposition even to third-party vehicle owners. Finally, we are very proud to announce a new milestone on the financing side. We have become one of the first independent EV startups in India to secure a commercial banking relationship for vehicle financing with Axis Bank. Historically, we have worked with NBFCs and corporate customers under buy and lease program. Axis Bank's willingness to partner with us came after thoroughly reviewing our asset performance over the past 5 years, including the high collateral value and consistent customer cash flows. Now I want to take a moment to speak about our funding journey, something that many of you in this room are deeply familiar with. The investment climate, especially over the last 12 to 18 months, has shifted significantly. The global interest rates have risen, the liquidity has tightened, and there has been a general pullback in the risk capital, not just in the electrical mobility, but across all the sectors. In this context, we are especially proud to have brought on board a strategic and a highly credible institutional partner, Mahanagar Gas Limited, as our lead Series A investor. Thank you, Ashu sir. Thank you, Manas sir, for helping us out. This partnership is not just financial, it's strategic at its core. MGL, with its deep roots in gas distribution, shares common ground with us in the mobility space, particularly in areas such as battery as a service and aftermarket service through our 3C division. We have already initiated joint planning with MGL to explore infrastructure integration, care services, retrofit solutions, with the potential to co-develop offerings in future mobility hubs. Regarding the structure of Series A, the investment was organized into 4 tranches, with the final tranche scheduled to close in June this year. Initially, MGL came in as a sole investor in the Series A round. But recently, with their strong backing and support, we have opened up the round for additional participation through a 16 crore green shoe option. This move is already generating interest from institutional funds, family offices, and strategic HNIs, and gives us greater financial flexibility as we execute our long-term strategy. What's most important is that now we have a well-capitalized platform, a strong strategic anchor, and the option to diversify our investor base. This combination positions us exceptionally well for our next phase of growth. Now let me walk you through our updated cap table post-Series A. We now have a very balanced and a strategically aligned investor base that strengthens our ability to scale effectively. Total post-round equity stands at 58,838 shares, distributed across strategic, financial, and founder-linked entities. Founders' entities, Rebat and Rugged Solar Products, together hold 38.59%, ensuring that the core leadership retains majority control and continues to guide company's mission. Our lead investor, Mahanagar Gas Limited, holds a significant 24.54% stake. This not only provides us financial depth, but also a strong strategic alliance, given their expertise in infrastructure and mobility. In addition, Bhishma Realty, another enterprise investor, holds 3.52%, contributing to our commercial growth partnerships. On the fund side, MPC Wealth Management Trust holds 12.8%, and aligned funds contribute an additional 4.5%, totaling 17.25% from financial investors. And finally, other enterprise and angels account for 16.1%, offering flexibility, early stage capital support, and market connectivity. Overall, the cap table reflects our philosophy, maintaining founder-led direction, supported by strong institutional anchors, and complemented by a diverse set of investors. It also positions us well for the future by preserving governance strength while expanding our capital base. Now let's talk about our plan for FY26, a year where we intend to fully capitalize on the strategic and financial foundation laid in FY25. The use of Series A funds will directly support both our CapEx initiatives and operation expansion. This includes completing the full factory build-out, bringing us to the capacity of 600 vehicles per month, deepening the 3C aftermarket and service platform, ensuring coverage and reliability for all our active markets. Operationally, we are targeting a doubling of unit sales in FY26 compared to FY25. So 834 vehicles in 25 and 1650 targeting for 26. This will naturally lead to more than doubling of our batteries on rental, since nearly every vehicle goes out with a multi-year battery agreement. While our vehicle mix is evolving, with a combination of 10 kilowatt hours and 6 to 8 kilowatt battery packs. The flexibility offered is increasing customer adoption and also reducing the downtime. Financially, our revenue is projected to grow 60 to 65% year over year, slightly lower than the unit growth. If you see 53.3, almost 54 CR, and projected is 88 CR. But now you may be wondering, why there is a gap? Well, this is a very conservative estimate. We anticipate a higher share of converted vehicles this year, which carry a lower price point compared to the new builds. That product mix has a dilutive effect on the revenue growth per unit. However, if our mix shifts toward more new builds, or if we exceed our volume goals, we expect upside to these projections. Currently, in FY26, we turn EBITDA positive from negative 8.5 to projected positive 5 CR. This is a major milestone for us, a reflection of our scale production capabilities, stable and improving unit economics, a more efficient cost structure, and most importantly, a clear strategic direction from our board of directors. Together, these elements enable 3EV to transition from a promising early stage venture to a financially sustainable and institutionally governed company. In addition, we expect to cut our losses by nearly 50% and negative 50 CR in 26, bringing us much closer to the full break even. And if we outperform on the revenue side, or maybe a better mix of product sales, there is even a potential for us to achieve a break even in 26 itself. As we close today's presentation, I would like to share a few personal reflections. I have recently joined 3EV as a co-president just over 2 months ago. During a time of leadership transition, as Mr. Karan steps back from day-to-day management. However, he remains closely involved as a board director and a key strategic advisor. Thank you for that. In this short time, I have had the opportunity to deeply engage with our people, our customers, and our operations. And I have come to appreciate the fundamental strengths of this business. What stands out to me is the efficiency in the capital deployment, the clarity in the strategic planning, and the unwavering focus on the mission. Even in an industry like electrical mobility, which is still evolving and new, 3EV has been laser focused since day one. The goal has always been to engineer fit for purpose vehicles, cargo, passenger, and converted. Not just a basic replacements for the ICE vehicles, but as a complete solutions that offer better value. As we look ahead to FY26, I want to re-emphasize the strategic focus that has consistently guided us from the beginning, and it continues to underpin our growth. we have always maintained a clear operational direction. First, we offer a full suite of Category L5 EVs, including cargo, passenger, and converted vehicles. This range allows us to address multiple market segments with purpose-built solutions. Second, we provide extensive aftermarket support through our 3C division, covering charging, care, and conversions, the three pillars of 3C. This ensures that customers have reliable support throughout the vehicle's life. Third, our approach to holistic asset lifecycle management has always been about maximizing vehicle uptime and ensuring customer experience best in class, total cost of ownership. And finally, everything 3EV does and we do is driven by customers' requirements. A clear example of this is our cold chain vehicle initiative, which we are launching in FY26 in direct response to customer demand in logistics and temperature-sensitive delivery business. The consistency in our strategy from inception till now, it's what's brought us to the milestone of closing our Series A. And these same foundational principles will continue to guide our execution as we scale ahead and further in the year. 3AV's commitment has never been wavered. We have always built with aftermarket support in the mind. We have designed for better safety, range reliability, and life cycle durability. We offer 5-year warranties on the new builds and 3-year warranties on the conversions. But our data shows that true economic life of our vehicles is close to 10 years. Some of our first vehicles are nearly 5 years old in the field. And I'm very proud to say that they still continue to operate with no retirements due to wear and tear. The only losses we have noticed are due to accidents or scrappage, but not because of the vehicle end of life. And this all is only possible because of our continuous engagement model. Through battery as a service, we interact with our customers daily. Through our 3C customer care network, we gather data weekly and monthly. This gives us a clear and transparent ongoing picture of our vehicle health, utilization, and ROI. This gives deep insight into the real-world performance, is something traditional OEMs do not often have. This is also what is making our product highly financeable, because banks and NBFCs can see the consistent usage and incomes these vehicles are able to generate. Our most recent partnership with Axis Bank stands as a very strong proof. Commercial banks are now stepping in, not just because of what we say, because of what the vehicles are proving themselves in the field every single day, every single hour. At 3EV, we believe every link in the value chain matters, from engineering and production to financing, energy supply, service, and customer support. Our aim was never to build a substitute for ICE. It was to build something better. As our managing director, Mr. Peter, said earlier, the mission was to make EVs cost efficient, reliable, and profitable, not just sustainable. And everything we have done, from the vehicles themselves to the bus and 3C platforms, is engineered to support that goal. Thank you for your time and attention today. We are very excited about the road ahead, and we look forward to grow this journey together. Jai Hind. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Utsav Khandelwal. We are proud to welcome Mr. Suresh as GM 3C, bringing over 2 decades of hands-on experience in service, maintenance, and customer care. His deep domain expertise will be key in elevating 3EV's 3C division.
Sure, as you say. Yeah, sure. Okay.
Well, I'll just say it. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, we're ready to start the next presentation on 3C, presented by Mr. Suresh Sharma, our General Manager of 3C. So please, anybody that's outside of the presentation room, please come back and please take your seats. There'll be plenty of time for networking over the course of the day, but I really like to stay on schedule. So if we could just please come in and take your seats, please.
Welcome back.
Hello all. Can we all, let's settle in. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's start with Mr. Suresh. who's the GM of 3C at 3EV Industries.
Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. I'm really excited for Mr. Suresh to talk about the 3C division. So I don't want you to miss any of the things that he has to say. So if you could please take your seats, then we can begin the presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Peter, sir. Good morning, everyone. I'm Suresh Sharma, General Manager, Service at 3C, a division of 3EV. And it's truly a privilege to be here with all of you today. Today, I want to take you through a transformative journey at 3C, which is caring, charging, care, and conversions, the service backbone of India's next generation EV ecosystem. Electric mobility is no longer a futuristic dream. It's a present day necessity. But for it to truly succeed, the ecosystem around EVs must be reliable, service-centric, and economically sustainable. That's exactly what 3C is solving. We are not just supporting EV adoption. We are enabling a paradigm shift with an integrated platform that ensures maximum uptime, reduced cost, faster turnarounds, and a cleaner, greener India. Most of you here is thinking that what is 3C? I'll take you through it. 3C is built on three operationally robust and powerful pillars. The first powerful pillar is charging. We provide scalable battery as a service infrastructure tailored for high utilization commercial EVs. Our solution makes charging faster, predictable, and economically viable. Our second powerful pillar, it's care. Our service vertical guarantees superior uptime through preventive maintenance, structured audits, and 24/7 field support. Today, we have achieved 5% downtime, half the industry average, and our goal is 2% in the coming 24 months. Our third pillar, powerful pillar, conversions. Our ICE to EV retrofitting program transforms aging diesel and petrol three-wheelers into cost-effective, zero-emission vehicles. This brings down conversion cost by up to 60% and accelerates sustainability goals without new vehicle investment. Together, these three powerful pillars create a holistic EV support model, from the first charge to long-term life cycle assurance. Battery as a service. We are solving the EV bottleneck. The battery is often the most expensive and worrisome component in an EV. With BAS, we turn that challenge into an advantage. Here's how I'll explain. We have the opportunity to the customers, no CapEx, only OpEx. Fleet operators rent batteries with maintenance and support built in. Conventional LFP batteries with a full charge time of less than 4.5 hours with a 50 amps charger. We have fast charging fixed LFP batteries with recharge times under just 15 minutes. We have end-to-end battery management. Every battery is tracked with its health, charge cycles, safety diagnostics, and end-of-life processing. We have the facility of also flexible pay per use plans, idle for small operators or seasonal usage. They pay only when they charge. A convenient charging and swapping services are available at both customers' premises and authorized third-party locations also. What 3C is doing right now, we are piloting, which it has been initiated, and we are the first to doing it. We are currently piloting using of two-wheelers for mobile battery delivery, significantly reducing turnaround time during breakdowns. This is what we have. This is a geographic reach and strategic growth. Our footprint is growing rapidly with active operations in Mumbai, Hyderabad, Bangalore, Chennai, and Coimbatore. With a partner in collaboration with Mahanagar Gas Limited, we are expanding battery and charging stations in Thane and adjoining urban corridors. Our network is brand agnostic. Any EV, not just 3 EV vehicles, can use our infrastructure. We are launching hyper-localized service hubs to cut turnaround time and reduce dependency on centralized workshops. This expansion strategy is designed to support the surge in EV demands across the Tier 1 and Tier 2 cities. Now let's talk about what sets us apart. It is care, a powerful pillar. At 3C, we go beyond traditional after-sale service. 5-year warranty for 3 EV vehicles and 3-year warranty on converted vehicles. Our 24/7 ground and report support, we address over 80% of minor issues remotely using our app-based diagnostic tools. We just don't wait for problems. We solve it by doing a weekly and monthly preventive maintenance checklist that are performed proactively to detect potential breakdowns and resolve them well ahead of time. We share reports with customers for transparency. We maintain real-time part tracking, ensuring service technicians are never out of stock. Today, we have achieved 5% downtime, as I told before, half the industry average, and our goal is to reduce it to 2% within 24 months. Why does this matter? For a fleet operator, 1 hour of downtime is 1 hour of lost income. Our job is to protect that income. What 3C is doing with technologies, I'll take you through it. It's our digital backbone. We have built a technology ecosystem that transforms how service is delivered. With 3C mobile app, it gives drivers real-time visibility into battery levels, vehicle health, and service histories. Our 3C dashboard, a centralized visual platform for large fleets to monitor usage, performance, and alerts, includes real-time KPIs, charts, and maps for quick data-driven decisions. Our AI-based predictive maintenance, it's under development. Currently in development, this system analyzes usage patterns to predict component failures like motor wear, controller issues, and battery degradation before it happens. 30% of our service requests are resolved without dispatch, saving time and cost. This data-driven approach ensures our customers are always a step ahead of breakdowns. A third powerful pillar, conversions. Conversions are a game changer, especially for operators who can't afford new EVs but want to go electric. Here's how we make it work. Conversions are 40 to 60% cheaper than new vehicle purchases. We do the full refurbishment on chassis, frame checks, rewiring, brake, and light upgrades, and digital instrumentation. All converted vehicles are RTO certified and road legal. What's the benefit of this? The most important, it's the environmental impact. Each conversion directly reduces 1.5 to 2 tons of carbon dioxide annually by immediately stopping ice pollution and avoiding the carbon footprint of a new vehicle manufacturing, all while preventing the scrapping of functioning vehicles. So far, we have converted over 447 vehicles, and the demand is still rising. I'll take you through what our new business developments are. Beyond 3EV, while we begin by supporting our own EV fleet, we are now evolving into a universal service platform, which is open bus. Any EV brand can use our batteries and infrastructure through retrofit kits or standardized ports. Our universal care, our subscription-based maintenance plans are now available for external fleets and independent operators. A public charging network, a strategic rollout of public battery swapping and charging stations. As I told you before also, a piloting we are doing with the mobile battery delivery, a disruptive pilot that enables battery delivery on the move with two-wheelers. No queuing, no waiting. It is an initiative which has been taken up by 3C. Until before now, nobody has done that. And we are most probably successful on this. Closing the road ahead. To conclude, 3C is not just another EV service provider. We are building the foundation of a cleaner, more profitable electric transport ecosystem. With charging, we offer energy access as a service. With care, we turn breakdowns into rare exceptions. With conversions, we turn old vehicles into tomorrow's solution. Last but not the least, I feel honored by this opportunity and proud to shoulder responsibilities alongside Mr. Peter, Mr. Karan, and Mr. Utsav. Together, we will strive to make 3C India's leading charging, service, and maintenance company. Whether you are a fleet manager, policymaker, investor, or entrepreneur, 3C gives you a proven platform to scale electric mobility sustainability and profitably. Thank you for your time, and let's electrify India one vehicle at a time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Suresh. And now, it's my privilege to introduce a dynamic leader at the forefront of 3EV's growth journey, Mr. Karan Kadaba, Director at 3EV Industries, a two-time entrepreneur with over 13 years of experience in renewable energy and electric mobility. Mr. Karan brings a rare blend of global perspective and executional precision. He leads 3EV's strategy and scale-up efforts with clarity and conviction, playing a key role in making the company a capital-efficient, high-impact force in India's EV transformation. Let's give this young visionary, a result-driven man, a warm welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Florence. That was humbling. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope I'm audible. I'm Karan Kadaba, Director, 3EV Industries, and welcome to this special roundtable discussion. I'm truly excited to moderate today's discussion. It's focused on the evolving landscape across clean mobility and the pivotal role investors, operators, and innovators play in shaping this. We're joined by a fantastic set of panelists today, each bringing a unique lens from their sector, from finance and technology. It's a privilege to start with each of them one by one, and I have all the panelists here. I'll be welcoming first on stage Mr. Kapil, President of Credence Family Office. Kapil leads one of India's most respected multi-family offices, managing capital for some of the most forward-looking families and institutions. What sets the Credence apart is not just their sharp investment judgment, but also a blend of performance and purpose. Thank you. Kapil, please come on stage. Thank you. Now, I'm honored to welcome one of the women entrepreneurs in our industry, one of the early leaders in financing, Nehal Gupta, the Managing Director of AMU Leasing. She has built one of the most active and trusted NBFCs in this space with an asset under management exceeding $20 million. Credence and Nehal's focus has always been on combining the strong social mission and the financial accessibility which AMU brings. AMU has been one of the early backers for 3EV going back 2022, and we're just completing about 3.5 years of working with them. Nehal, please, I'd like to join you on stage. Now I'm pleased to introduce a friend, Arun. He's one of the most forward-thinking entrepreneurs in this space. I call him the rock star of our industry, founding partner of Ather Energy. He was the CTO there. He helped shape one of the country's first most premium two-wheel brands. And at Exponent Energy, he is pushing the envelope to fast charging, one of the fastest charging batteries in the world. And Arun, it's not going to take you 15 minutes to come up on stage, but happy to have you here. Thank you. Next, I have a dignified financial institution leader, Mr. Ashish Mehra, the Vice President of Axis Bank. Mr. Ashish has led more than 2 decades of experience in commercial vehicle financing, starting with ICE vehicles, and then he structured the EV program at Axis. Axis has led this journey for large financial institutions, and he's played a pivotal role in that. Mr. Ashish, we'd like to welcome you on stage. Yeah, I have a table mic. Thanks. Last but in no way least, I'd like to invite another friend on stage, Mr. Prateek Kamdar, the CEO and co-founder of Neuron Energy, one of the few battery companies which is going to enter the giga capacity, and Neuron has been a strong pillar of 3EV success in commercial vehicles. Thank you, Prateek. I'd like to start with Nehal first.
Thank you.
Nehal, you've been an early backer to many of the EV OEMs in this country. You also led NBFC financing going back 2020. How different was it to create a risk analysis matrix for EVs? And what was different about 3EV's assessment?
First of all, thank you so much for having me and for the kind introduction. For AMU, EV is the backbone of our company. Green financing is something that we are very bullish on. We believe will be the sunrise sector going forward the next 20 to 30 years for the country. And why we started in green was because it was supported by a lot of macro factors that benefited the renewable sector in the country, and also the financing outlook for this sector was huge. So it was a big opportunity, but obviously with the challenges that come in any new industry, it was hard to get that first push and be able to prove the right risk mechanisms that you asked about. So how we looked at it, one was obviously the product quality, not necessarily the performance of it, because if you're one of the early backers, you may not have clocked in 50,000, 1 lakh kilometers at the time of financing the product, but we believed in the quality that 3V was manufacturing, the kind of leadership, vision, management, and the entire ownership of value chain, from manufacturing to deployment, actually interacting with customers, owning the drivers, owning the entire processes. So I think that control really helped us assure on the servicing that you were offering to your customers. And another thing was cash flows. So obviously, like we saw in the presentation earlier, that losses may still persist and it may take time to become EBITDA positive, but when you have healthy cash flows running in from customers that you were deploying these vehicles to, it also comes in as a very positive check. You know, when you're seeing credits happening in the bank statements of 10, 15, 100 different customers, starting from big companies to small companies. So that really proves that vehicles are actually performing on road. You're generating the revenue per kilometer that you intended to and that you projected for. And having a solid lender relationship over the past 4 years, you said, right, has obviously built that credibility now. So yes, it may take some time to prove the model, and interest rates are not always conducive in the beginning, because we do take that risk and we like to charge for that premium that we're taking the risk for, but it's been a well-proven model, and I wish you guys all the best going forward. Thank you.
Thanks, Nehal. So we could say asset worthiness and credit worthiness both has been proven. Thank you. Thank you. Well, moving on to Prateek. Prateek, your relationship with 3EV, one of the first L5 projects which you took up. Talk us through that, what went through and how different that was with other OEMs that you interacted with.
Well, we have been working with 3EV for now 4 years almost. So 3EV was the first L5 project we took up. We used to supply batteries to two-wheelers and L3 OEMs before this. It was a pivotal moment for us, because today we are supplying more than 800 to 1,000 battery packs in the L5 segment, and the entire company is built on L5 today compared to 4 years ago. When we started working with 3EV, 3EV came to us with proper data sets, thermal requirements, and also usability analysis in terms of the requirements that you all had, that you all will do delivery in multiple shifts. So the battery pack had to be designed not only for use but also for multiple cycles and abuse during the day. And because we co-created the pack, it was not just an off-the-shelf design which was given to 3EV. I think we put in around 3 to 6 months of efforts in designing the pack for your requirement. So since we co-created the pack, we are happy to say that we have never done any reiterations. It is still the version 1 that we are giving you since 4 years, and it has been working well. And this could be possible only because of the readiness of 3EV team, where the data, the usability, and all the analytics were available to us on day 1.
Thanks, Prateek. I think that's what we talk about, partner ecosystem and sharing of information. I'd like to move on to Mr. Ashish now. Mr. Ashish, you've led commercial vehicle financing for Axis, starting with ICE. Can you throw some insights on what made Axis enter the EV space and how different was it from ICE financing?
Okay, I don't think it was difficult, yes, but it was different for sure, because one, we had to actually look at the viability of the product, the quality of the product to start with, and also the viability to the end user, who's using this product. See, the disruptions happen in technology. I think CV, we have seen disruption happening over a period of time. There was ICE, then came CNG, right? And when CNG came, everybody had their apprehensions that how this product is going to, basically settle with the customers. But over a period, obviously, what matters is, end of the day, the quality of the product, right? So one, for us as a lender, obviously, the choice was not very difficult because the NBFCs had already taken the charge, right? So we didn't want to be behind in that market. We also wanted to be part of this, and along with that, whatever the ESG, responsibilities that we carry. I think the one thing that really mattered to us was the quality of the entity, because a lot of startups came, right? A lot of startups folded up also, but I think what matters end of the day is the quality that you're giving to the customer. For me, for us as a lender, what we required as a comfort from the manufacturer was that is your product going to give the required output to the customer, and this vehicle is not going to come back to me maybe after 6 months, 1 year, and after, if that happens, if I go back to the manufacturer, whether the manufacturer will still survive in the market or no. Yes, I think we had to make some changes in the policy, product offering, but when we see, when we look at the EV segment, I think the first change that started happening was on the bus segment, right? The buses were the first one to adopt the EV technology. Then came the 3-wheeler, and now the 4-wheeler, and obviously now the long-haul trucks have also come into the EV. If you look at the market, what is happening on the bus, overall TIV for CV last year was about 10 lakh units. The buses contributed almost about 7,500 units, right? This is the quantum that has started selling in the market because there is a comfort that has got established with the customer. There's a comfort that has got established with the financer. The portfolios have seen the delinquency on these products for the last 6 months, 12 months, right? So I think those things are slowly settling down on the 3-wheeler segment also. Now, and in fact, Karan, you can validate that. In fact, when he came to me for the first time, and he took me through the presentation. By the end of the presentation, I told him, okay, let's just do that because I see some value in the product that you're, bringing in the market. So yes, so I'm saying different because we had to make some changes in the approach in terms of the policy offering. See, the biggest factor as a lender for me, the biggest risk factor is the realizable value of the asset, end of every quarter, every 6 months, right? If the asset is performing, right, it is not giving that kind of a depreciation, fast depreciation, and the viability of the product is there. As a lender, I think for me, it is making money end of the day. That's what made us took that decision that we want to get into the EV segment.
Thank you for that, Ashish. Arun, moving on to you, Exponent is leading fast charging in India. I can say also globally with the latest pack. How do you compare interoperability versus proprietary protocols? Because Exponent focuses on a proprietary protocol. And how does that association benefit a closed loop ecosystem like that of 3EV?
Yeah, I think in EV, we got to start thinking of energy very differently. In petrols, today Bangalore has 300 petrol stations, all brands put together. I mean, you go electric, it's not going to be 300 charging stations, it's going to be probably 30,000 charging stations. So we believe in interoperability. So even our battery packs can be slow charge, can be charged on other networks. But there is always this preferred network that you want to subscribe to as an end customer. So we believe brands will build out, I mean, maybe it's Swap, maybe it's us and rapid charging. So we're all sort of trying to create that energy layer and getting customers to sort of choose us as a primary energy partner. But interoperability is key, just for the safety, for financeability, all of that. So we subscribe to both, but we do think there's not going to be this one protocol that there's one protocol that works for everyone. Is just sheer physics-wise not possible. 2-wheelers, 3-wheelers, trucks, power levels, voltage platforms, they're all different. So we can't think of how like a dumb nozzle for fuel is not the same thing as a connector for charging. But interoperability is key, but I think customers will see value in a preferred energy partner. Like what we've done is I think you guys were able to clock vehicles at 400, 500 kilometers. Together with the pilot, we're doing 450 kilometers a day. It's crazy. So we're not just here to sell batteries. We really want to work with partners who truly are solving hardcore problems. And so which is why we think, for every category, right? Even 3EV, you guys will probably say, for this sort of operations, I'll use Swap. this sort of operation, I'll use slow charging. For this sort of operations, I need rapid charging. So I think that's how we think the world will evolve.
Thank you. Great answer. Kapil, moving on to you. You've evaluated at Credence multiple OEMs. You chose 3EV as the first OEM investment for your families. What was that reason and how has been that journey thus far?
So Karan, thank you so much for the invitation. Let me just refine this question, because that will be more relatable to how we deal with the investors. So at Credence Family Office, what's more important is why do we exactly allocate funds into a particular asset? Now, whether it is a particular asset or a fund manager or a particular equity stock, why do we allocate? So everything is goal-driven in Credence, right? For our families that we deal with, everything is goal-driven. And those goals are about what is the kind of capital appreciation we are looking at, what is the kind of liquidity we are looking at, what are the cash flows we are looking at, but everything is goal-driven. So we, as Credence Family Office, are we managing returns? No, we are not. We are managing risk. And when I particularly talk about risk or risk management, here comes the evaluation of a particular stock or a particular company or a fund manager. Now, what do we look for when we allocate assets? We look for, first and foremost, capital efficiency. Second, we look for whether this thing is long-term, strategic long-term or not for us. And that is what we saw in 3EV. So when we first in fact, honestly speaking, it was a nightmare for us because this advent of electric vehicles was coming up in 18 and 19 and 20s when COVID happened, and in midst of COVID, we were evaluating so many companies in India and even in Southeast Asia. And what we were looking for is a quality company wherein we could resonate with the promoter and we could resonate with the business model. And somewhere or the other, we were just not able to resonate with it. So we had to pass on many things. And here comes 3EV, wherein we saw that, of course, there was a factory which was operational. So I'm not talking about a concept in the air. There is production going on. There is an IP which has been owned by a company. The capital efficiency which I could sense. So I'm talking about innovation. I'm talking about frugality. Also, one very interesting thing which we saw in 3EV was the annuity model, battery as a service. Pre-eco, which you will be talking about in the second half of the day. So we also saw cash flows in addition to frugality, in addition to innovation. So that is something that intrigued us, that yes, this particular company is good for our investors' portfolio, first. Second, we entered at seed stage. That means I'm talking about value. That means I'm reducing the risk because my buying price is low. Considering all that, we somehow thought that 3EV is a good investment, and all I can say is it was a right decision. God has been kind, and we are proud to be associated with 3EV.
Thank you, Kapil, for that. And just a follow-on question to you, because you spoke about capital efficiency, and you mentioned you entered at seed, but you've inherently been part of almost all our rounds. How has this funding winter, progressed, and how do you see startups approaching now their growth stage? How important is the pathway to profitability and capital efficiency?
Extremely crucial. I would say that this particular topic is very dear to my heart. I consider cash frugality as the most important thing. I mean, if a company doesn't have capital efficiency, I would just not touch this company at arm's length. So for me, this becomes the most important. I have evaluated, and not only in EV space, in many other sectors, because we as a family office are sector agnostic. We have to look at every other sector out there. We see capital efficiency, of course, in addition to the comfort with the promoter. Capital efficiency is one of the most important things. And when I say capital efficiency, I mean it could be as simple as what is the salary a promoter is drawing from the company. It could be as basic as that. And then comes all the jazz like the performance marketing and the kind of money they want to spend on promotions, the discounts and the growth that they want to do. Everything leads to burn. And burn is nothing but a hole in the balance sheet. And I don't want to name the companies, but of late we have seen many EV companies going down the drain, whether it was burn or whether it was inefficient utilization of cash. So Karan, that is the most important thing for us, that where exactly is the money being spent? And looking at that, I mean, of course now, if I were to relate this particular thing to 3EV, this is something which we were very comfortable with the kind of, the way the cash is being utilized, how much money is being spent on the IPs, what is the kind of, I mean, if I were to, okay, one very important thing I would like to bring out here. Cash efficiency for us is frugality and not being, you know, not cutting down corners, right? So one way, if we look at it, we should have supported the model where gig workers are there, because that is not really putting a big cost to my balance sheet or a P&L. But here in 3EV and Eco's case, we saw that you have drivers which are on your payroll, right? Which is, of course, a big commitment to the monthly outflows. But we were more comfortable with that because that is a more sustainable business model, right? So cash efficiency doesn't mean cutting down on cash. Cash efficiency means a proper allocation of money to right kind of resources that leads to profitability. And while I could see on the screen in the previous session, you are attaining profitability in the coming financial year, I mean in this financial year.
Right. Yes.
Which is the proof of the pudding. Also, for most of the investors, for most of the companies, as you asked, what do we look for? Well, most of the companies that we have seen would just like to dilute equity and raise cash from the market. But here, what we really respect about 3EV, well, from day one, they were very clear that we don't want only a financial partner. We need somebody who is a strategic partner who can help us grow. And all our angel investors and MGL is a proof of that, of your vision.
I think, thank you. That was very insightful for everyone. Neil, moving on to you, 3EV has now completed 3.5 years this year, the 4th year with AMU, you know, as our NBFC partner. Some of our vehicles will be completing the full, financing period. How do you assess the collateral value of 3EV? You finance so many other OEMs. Throw some light on that.
Karan, I think that's a function of the application you're using the vehicle for. In EV, we've largely seen that there's no standard mechanism of deriving a residual value yet. I think that market is still developing, and in the NBFC world, what my team tells me is that from emerging a new market in any economy, it takes about 7 years for the resale market to get built after that. So if the L5 category vehicles that we're talking about started getting launched, say, late 20 to early 21, we're yet to see that market development for resale value, and to at least bring that to a certain level of standardization, if nothing else, right? So how we see it is the commitment by the company to support and to continue supporting the vehicles despite the extended warranty guarantee periods are over, or if there's any customer revenue generation issues because of the asset that the customer is not able to earn and not able to run the vehicle. So addressing those issues by the OEM, I think, is the most important thing. And at this point now, with the kind of kilometers that the vehicles may have driven and the kind of application that you've used these vehicles for, I think it's a fairly standard way of deriving it like you do it with the ICE market, where if the vehicle still performs or lives after 3 to 5 years, we then know that the body and the chassis and the overall powertrain of the vehicle can last up to even 7 to 8 years, right? So at that point, the support from the OEM, the overall application of the vehicle, the running and the maintenance and quality that you all have been able to achieve because of captive usage, I think also plays a big role. Because if they're being sort of, put in a rugged environment with retail customers especially, it becomes a challenge. It still is a challenge, at least in the passenger segment. But cargo, given it's a point A to point B to point C use case, you're tracking it, you're monitoring it, drivers are being trained well. So I think all of that combined gives us that assurance, and of course the support then at the end really matters. But so far we've been able to derive, say, maybe up to 15 to even 20% of residual value after 3 years in the L5 space, which I think is commendable. So, yeah.
That's great. Yes, thank you. Arun, moving on to you, the 3EV and Exponent are working on an exciting project, our E30C retrofit. We talk about it passionately always. Can you throw some light on that and why you chose to partner exclusively?
Oh, firstly, just the team, right? Unlike US or Europe, where everyone's doing fancy passenger cars for electrification in India is hardcore. I think so when we meet you or we meet Suman, you guys have such a deep understanding, such a grounded understanding of what's needed to really make vehicles work in India. And I think the fact that you guys have, there's quality on paper and there's quality that's actually needed to run operations in India, which I think you only learn by doing it yourself and actually being on ground. And that's very impressive and that's very exciting, and for us, that's what's needed. We see a lot of OEMs come and go, but I think the fact that you guys actually, and we didn't go launch this product to end customer, I think you guys ran it yourselves, actually understood firsthand what the problems were. To me, that's just the right way to do things. The ICE engine guys have had 100 years to slowly refine the product, and back then there was no WhatsApp, so if something went wrong, no one really found out about it. Today, quality is brutal. You got to get your quality right, and we got to compete with 100 years of innovation in 3-4 years. So I think that only comes from a team that's grounded, constantly learning from your own fleet, from others, and sort of putting that back into your engineering. And why retrofit? I think together we're super excited about this. Sure, we can keep selling new vehicles, but that's going to then clean out the existing fleet. It's going to take us 30 years to electrify the installed base. It's not great for the climate. It's not great for business as well, right? But as an energy company, we don't care if it's a new vehicle or an old vehicle. You guys don't care if it's a new vehicle or old vehicle. It's a question of how do you acquire more vehicles. And it's almost a 50x larger installed base for us to play with retrofit as against just focusing on new vehicle sales. It's 50% lower capex risk, so the financiers are happy, right? So I think it's just a win-win-win for everyone. The government is happy now, pushing policies. I think Delhi's taken lead. We're hoping other states will follow. So I think any OEM that only does new vehicle sales will have sort of a backleg. I think a platform like 3EV that has some optionality of new vehicle sales, conversion, and of course you guys are sort of getting into the charging business, which I think is interlinked. So I think the way we look at energy is charging, battery, how do you sort of closely interlink? The way you guys look at energy, mobility, and OEM together, I think to us that was it's a no-brainer to then work with 3EV and do this. Yeah.
Great, thank you. Now, moving on to Prateek, Neuron's building a giga capacity this year, right? 3 different plants, and you're focusing very closely on battery as a service and swapping with us. Can you throw some light on that?
Well, in the last 5 years, from 2020 to 2025, we believed that all of us who were part of the ecosystem, whether it was battery players, OEMs, NBFCs, we were all trying to push our products onto the market, trying to build 2 things, awareness and adoption when it came to new technology products. In the last 18 months, we have seen the battery pricing, the cell pricing reduce by around 60 to 70%. What this has done is 3 things. One is that it has brought parity between ICE vehicles and EV vehicles in terms of pricing. Second, in terms of certain storage applications, lead acid batteries and lithium ion batteries are now evenly priced. The asset cost for fleet owners like you guys have reduced significantly because battery constitutes a very large part of the bill of materials. So that coming down will ensure that your business model in terms of unit economics significantly improves. So keeping that in mind, we now believe that in 2025, we are at a cusp of large volume consumption across categories. The fact that banks have now started entering the segment and financing it will also ensure the push to be faster. So we believe that now, whether it is fast charging, slow charging, all the battery packs that are being sold across, not only mobility and storage, will have huge deployment opportunities. Second, in terms of battery as a service, keeping an additional battery or swapping the batteries regularly, the asset cost will go down significantly as the cost of batteries have gone down. So that will ensure that the entire swapping network, the total cost of operation comes down by around 50-60%, and it will ensure that the volumes in terms of BAS will pick up. So we strongly believe that we are at a cusp where new energy will now seriously start replacing in volumes traditional fuels and bridge fuels in the next 1 or 2 years.
Thank you, Pratik. Mr. Ashish, we have in the audience policymakers, investors who can influence the state as well as the country's policy. Any comments on where do you see as large institution backing this new space? What would you like to see?
See, for us also, I mean, this has been a long journey. I think we started our journey on the EV space somewhere in 2019, and the bus was the first segment that came to us, and it was something very, very new for us. And for us, I think the likes of Electra, JBM, Photon, I think all they came and they say, okay, now we have seeded our buses, we have tested our buses. The customers are happy, will you fund these customers? And we said, okay, basis the existing policy, I don't think we can do that because the risks are different for an EV segment and ICE segment. I think the biggest risk was in assessment of the manufacturer, right? New manufacturers, products not very really tested on my portfolio. The second risk was the RV of the vehicle, that very difficult for us to ascertain what will be the the realizable value of the vehicle, say after 1 year. The third was the battery. Battery was about 30%. So how do I, and batteries were just coming to India, and they were getting imported, not being manufactured here. The quality of the battery, and the last one was, in case of a repossession, what do I do with the vehicle, right? There is no alternate market that is available. So all those risks were there, and so the initial idea was that we should get more equity from the customer. The customer should have more skin to the game, because tomorrow if the customer defaults because of whatever reason, because of the product quality or maybe the project not being viable, at least we should be able to recover our money by at least selling whatever the income, the realizable value of the vehicle. So fortunately for us, the government of India stepped in, the FAME series came, and we were able to actually substitute the customer share through the FAME subsidy that was coming. So that's how the bus segment got established slowly, and we started innovating. Then in this journey we met many new startups, many new companies. I was fortunate to meet Arun also in one of the startup meet at Axis, and he gave me a concept of BAS and swap that time. I think that was really, really exciting, because the second question which was coming was that the cost of the vehicle was going up, right? So for a commercial vehicle, the viability of the project, right, was getting questionable, because the freights were not getting increased. The initial, the contribution was the customer from going up, and EMIs were going up. So we said, okay, can we try on the car segment initially? So we started BAS as a product. So I think the concept that we brought was that, can we decouple the cost of the battery from the cost of the vehicle? Can we give a higher tenor on the battery as compared to because the manufacturers started getting more extended warranty for the batteries, and that really worked for us on the car segment. The idea was that if a customer is coming to buy maybe a Verna, right, but obviously his EMI is equivalent to a Creta, right? How do I make sure that his EMI stays, right, for an ICE vehicle, his EMI stays for a Verna, that the customer doesn't have to bear that extra cost. So that settled down for us in car segment. Then came the EV segment on the three-wheelers and all. Again, I think what the ask that started coming from the market was, can we give an extended tenor for these customers? Again, the viability, right? Now, problem with lender, like us, was that, the earlier the repayment, my risk on the vehicle goes down, right? If I'm extending the tenor, for example, and the ask was to get to a 7 or 8 years. I don't break even till the time the customer repays me for about 3.5, 4 years. My gap on the vehicle between my depreciated value and the RV of the vehicle was very high, right? So we obviously went back to the customer, we went back to the manufacturers, and we went back and to the central government also. Can we have some subsidy on the three-wheeler other than the buses also? And we were fortunate that some of the manufacturers, they pitched in and they said, okay, we will take some part of the risk, early part, in the early years. And that is how, in fact, we are the first one to come out with a 7-year product for an electric vehicle, right? So these changes are required. The other thing that we have asked the government is, if we have to really, generate interest of the customers in this particular segment, right? Because customers are skeptical about getting into EV. One, the cost is the first deterrent. The second thing is the financing is not very, easily available in the market. So what we have asked government, can we classify EV as a PSL segment, right? Because once it gets classified as a PSL segment, it gives me some additional benefit in terms of my cost of fund, right? So the banks will be more than happy to actually get into the EV segment. So all these changes are slowly settling down, right, as we speak. The extended tenor, and especially now the extended tenor is required because the EV is coming in the long haul, where the truck cost is about more than 1.5 crores, right? And obviously the customers are not getting the viability on the vehicle. I'm sure, I think as we move now, in the car, now we have the born EV concepts, right? Now these are no longer a modified EV. There are the likes of MGs, Mahindras, Maruti, they're all coming with the born EV, right? And the battery quality is, I would say, is much more, I would say, I think, tested for us, and we can take a call. I would say the journey is still not done. We, as a lender, we are comfortable now with about 3-4 years of portfolio to us on the EV segment. Fortunately for us, the portfolio is doing well. But to generate more interest of the customers, I think we'll have to come out with more innovative schemes. BAS is one. We are trying to bring BAS in CV also. It's been successful for us in auto. CV is something that we are trying. And the extended tenor, I think these are some of the things, policy changes that will eventually help. And I'm sure there is more to be done on this.
I think that's great. We all want that to happen. I think it's been a very good panel. We've also been in time. I'd like to open the floor for maybe 2-3 questions to the audience. Any questions? No. So, yeah, thank you so much, panelists. It is great to have you, and would request you to be with us for the rest of the day. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Karan. Thank you, panel members. That was a truly insightful roundtable discussion. Thank you again. We've explored the challenges, the power of collaboration, and the promising future of mobility. Now, it's time to welcome our next speaker, Mr. Abhimanyu Rathi, the founder and CEO of RenewCred, a tech-driven carbon credit registry dedicated to advancing industrial decarbonization through verified high-integrity offsets. Mr. Abhimanyu is a passionate change maker who lives by the philosophy, be the change you want to see in the world.
All right, thank you so much. First of all, thank you so much for all the speakers who have spoken before me. The sessions have been quite insightful, and it's been lovely to be present over here. I know this is the pre-lunch, pre-vehicle inaugural session, so I won't take a lot of time. I'm here just to talk about the nice things, codenamed ESG, in our world, basically. My name is Abhimanyu Rathi. I run this company called RenewCred. I'm the recipient of the Mohammed bin Rashid Climate Award. I've been in the carbon markets for about 16 years, with my focus areas being renewable energy, water purification, and obviously carbon markets. And along with 87 scientists, we are a carbon credits platform. So in most layman terms, carbon credit is basically a permit to pollute the environment. Let me be very clear. That's what it is. 1 ton of CO2 is equal to 1 carbon credit. So entities like 3EV that are doing good for the planet become suppliers of the credit, and entities that are unfortunately not being able to decarbonize themselves buy these credits. Sounds simple, just invest into credits and save the world. What is all this climate change bullshit about? There are three big problems, basically. The first problem is the quality issue with these offsets, with these projects themselves. Take, for example, I set up a forest with 100 trees. A tree won't tell me how much CO2 it's sequestered. I don't know what the forest is performing, what is happening. The second problem is, it's the supplier's prerogative to get the credit, so that the supplier has to pay, do all the hard work, whereas supplier is the one that is doing the hard work of saving the climate. Makes no sense. And the third problem is, nobody knows what's happening, where to go, who to approach, at what price point are these credits being sold. So to solve these problems, some new age registries have come up. And when I say registries, these are issuing bodies, including RenewCred. I'm proud to say that we are not just India, but global South's first standard and registry. What we do is, we just focus on non-nature-based or tech-based projects. So projects that have a machine part to it, projects like EV fleets, solar energy, biochar, CCUAs, DAC, ERW, that can give us live verified data on how the project is performing. The second thing we do is, we build up SaaS tools that enables the buyer to log into it and see what is really happening, how many credits are generated. And the third thing we do is, we work with banks to provide climate-sensitive loans to these projects, closing the loop. I'm proud to say that we are working with about 16 projects, including CBG that was spoken about earlier in the morning, EV fleets, and biochar. So that's how the carbon credit market looks like. Giving you a frame of reference, a company that is no longer operational, unfortunately. The founders were not smart enough, were able to generate about 10 crore of value of through carbon credit markets last year. Another EV company that's trying to come into India for a long time, US based, generated about $1.29 billion on their revenue through carbon credits. So that's how big the carbon credit market is for EV companies. These are termed as avoidance credit. So you're basically avoiding emissions vis-a-vis an internal combustion engine and going net zero. So this was the story about carbon credit. In the next section, I will quickly talk about the story about the India's ESG policy. How are we looking at ESG in India? So India in itself doesn't have an ESG act right now. There have been some private member bills, but no ESG act right now. It's a multifold strategy where various regulators are coming together, be it the finance ministry, be it MOE, FCC, be it SEBI, or be it RBI. The second thing is, these strategies have become more stringent starting 2015 when Paris Agreement was signed and India announced we will reach net zero by 2070. Unfortunately, we are the last to reach there, but then again, we have legacy problems with that. So what are we doing? We are bringing out regulations, we are making it stringent in a phased manner that I will just talk about, but all of these ESG goals are linked to our own development priorities. So the first one to do this has been SEBI. In 2021, they came up with something called a BRSR reporting. BRSR was made mandatory starting 2022 for the top 1,000 companies. So top 1,000 companies on SEBI have to report on 9 different principles on ESG parameters on how they are performing. Starting 2023, SEBI also introduced what is called a BRSR core, making it more stringent for ESG reporting to actually happen. And now SEBI is also talking about Scope 3 emissions. So those who are familiar with this, Scope 3 emissions are not emissions that happen directly on the premise, but happen in the supply chain. And SEBI has put up some rating framework, some regulatory framework around that too. The next one to priority sector lending, where the lower interfering EV and solar, because to be honest, as far as climate change is concerned, we have done EV, solar, and ESG. And thankful to note that 3 EV leadership has been part of all these 3. Coming to MOE FCC, on lines with carbon credits, they came out with green credits. These are again fungible across sectors and you can transact with them. Sounds more like a play right now, obviously, who is saving water, who is recording it, and how do you put protocols behind it, but at least policy level talk is happening. Very recently, we also came out with our climate change taxonomy on lines with global goals, ESG principles. How the law works in India is a few segments are ESG principles. How the law works in India is a few segments are under the state list, a few in the central list, and state also. Oh, sorry, my bad. This was MOFCC I was talking about. And states also have come up with their, okay. Yeah, states also have come up with their own ESG frameworks. Kerala was an example to give you. Kerala has a very stringent ESG framework that is coming up both in the B2B as well as the B2C environments. Delhi's fleet aggregator model we all know about. They have come up with multiple policies along electrifying their buses. And then there are states like Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra that we are in, and Karnataka that have also taken the lead. States like Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra that we are in, and Karnataka that have also taken the lead. So while all of this is happening, India still struggles on its ESG parameters. Things have not always been good. We always talk about environment or climate change, but not as often about SNG part of this, the social and the governance part of it. But there have been some models and some experimentation that have happened over the last 3 years to be specific. Like I said, BRSR has become more stringent, green bonds have come in. And let's not forget that India was the first mover on the CSR policy as well. We were the first ones to make CSR mandatory in India. So what is this opportunity for EVs? How is that looking like? There was a lot of talk about FAME subsidies. FAME has been a hit and miss, I do understand, but it has been more push towards having better batteries. So that's where we are headed to, but I'm quite confident that all of these can be mitigated with. Okay. Technology, as they say. All right, so this is a brief presentation from me. You can read a more detailed paper on the QR code, and thank you so much. Looking forward to creating more socially aligned companies. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Abhimanyu. Ladies and gentlemen, this brings us to show you what the future looks like. Presenting the next chapter of 3EV. Built in India for the world. Tougher, smarter, greener. Gentlemen, this isn't just a launch. It's a bold step into the future of electric mobility. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, are you all ready? This is the prime moment that we've been waiting for. I can't hear. Are you all ready? No, this is not expected. Are you all ready? Join me in countdown. 3, 2, 1.
Thank you all. Thank you all very much. That concludes the inaugural Investor Day for 3V Industries. I again want to thank you all for coming. It's really a great turnout for us. Also, thank you for the online visitors and attendees as well. We'll now be having a lunch, so please enjoy, network, take your time, look at the vehicles. We will have people here to answer questions and deal with any of your inquiries. And then later this afternoon, we'll be starting at 2 o'clock with the next company, also with their Investor Day today. So please feel free to stay. I know many of you intend to stay. And then we'll proceed again at 2 o'clock. Anything else, Karan? All right. Everything that I make as a mistake, Karan fixes. So that's why I'm looking at him. Thank you all.